Welcome back to another episode of the 2-in-1 Golf Podcast. Got the whole crew today, Mike, Madison, and myself, Sterling. How we doing, gentlemen?
Doing great. It was a gorgeous weekend here in Richmond.
It was a good weekend in Florida as well.
Yeah,
That's what it sounded like.
Yeah. So I just got back from the PGA show. We're going to start the episode with that. We're also going to get into the AMEX, the Farmers Insurance, as well as the LPGA Tour, and a couple new signings to live. Like I said, to start the show, I went down to Florida, Orlando, with my good buddy Ed Gill to the PGA Show 2024, and it was a pretty good week. Went down there really with no expectations. Wanted to do some seminars, some education pieces, and did that. Got some good stuff. Got some stuff for all of us that I think we can use in our games. So happy to share that with you all. Met one celebrity at least. Saw a couple. I wouldn't say celebrities, but definitely some YouTube golf creators. But yeah, I got a photo with J.R. Smith. The Henny God himself, if you guys know what that means. Any idea?
Oh man,
I
no,
I I
I'm not.
love.
I'm not in on that.
We're just gonna the Henny God, Mike. Just what do you think that means?
Again, just that's going right over my head.
Gotcha,
I
Madison.
mean,
Do you
the only
know?
thing I can think of is you're talking about Hennessy.
Talking about Hennessy, J.R.
Okay.
Smith. He's known.
Okay.
That's his beverage of choice, and
Okay.
I got the photo, and he had a coffee cup in his hand, and I sent it to some people, and they were like, "Did you check the cup?" And I was like, "I didn't."
So he was just there as an attendee, just taking it all in. Is he bringing anything back to the school team?
I got no clue. I saw him for 30 or 45 seconds. When I first saw him, he was on Golf Channel,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I just saw that the camera was on him. I was like, oh, "That's a super tall guy. Let me look and see who's on Golf Channel." It was J.R. Smith, and then kind of lost him a little bit. I was looking to meet up with him, get a photo, and then just randomly he was in the Titleist booth. But yeah, I think he's at AT&T.
He's
Um,
cell phones
The phone company?
oh, I'm sorry,
Or North Carolina A&T.
Yeah.
A&T. My fault.
Yeah.
Hey, JR.
NCA&T. Yeah.
JR in the par 3 podcast. I'm sorry, that's on me. He might be with AT&T.
He might
knows?
be.
I mean,
He might be a spokesperson for him.
him and Jordan might be partners or whatever.
Well, NIL.
But yeah, for sure. How does that
cool.
work with J.R. Smith?
What do you mean? It works just like with anybody else.
What do you mean? Yeah.
So wait, he played professional basketball, but you can still be an amateur in golf, correct?
That's right.
Okay.
Your professional status in any other sport does not sacrifice. It's not like the Olympics used to be, where if you were a pro in anything, you couldn't be an Olympic athlete as an amateur, which was just absolutely ridiculous. But we don't have to worry about that anymore anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what were some of the other great takeaways from the show?
Great takeaways.
If any.
Brad Faxton. I don't know if you guys saw the video. I put some clips on TikTok, but that man's a legend. It's so funny. So for me, obviously, I didn't grow up watching that generation before Tiger. And whenever I hear or I see someone, I'm not going to care about Davis Love coming to Belmont and doing the opening ceremony. It's Davis Love. I don't care about that. But when you meet him and you get a photo, like you get a little nervous because he's talking about, I think, because the year he did the Belmont grand opening, he had either just finished being a captain for a team or he was getting ready to be the President's Cup captain. I'm not sure. But yeah, I got nervous seeing him for the first time. And then also same thing with Brad Faxton. I was like, I'm not going to care about what he has to say. But then when he starts speaking and he starts hitting shots, and I don't know, it was good to see someone at that level just talk and hit shots. Other takeaways, I don't know. Nothing really stood out to me. The PGA show, it's all about these companies displaying their products for 2024. You know, Callaway did Callaway things, and they had a smoke machine and the AI. Was it the AI Paradigm?
The Paradigm AI
I
smoke.
saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had an actual fog machine putting smoke out into the environment. I was like, isn't that kind of a safety hazard? Because obviously we're indoors. TaylorMade, surprisingly, wasn't there. Ed and I were talking about that. I guess they don't really need. I mean,
They haven't been for a
they did,
while, I think.
yeah,
After Adidas spun them off, I think it's been that long.
yeah. I will say though, Madison, one company that I know you're a fan of that has, I think, a pretty interesting product coming out is Blue Tees. They have this new speaker with a front LED screen, and it just kind of it's, the Wingman, the Bushnell Wingman.
Yeah.
Picture that with an LED screen, and you can obviously on your phone with the app, you can change that front screen, either show a course layout, the music that you're playing, a green layout. It's actually really cool. So I don't know, maybe we get that and review it because I think that'd be a pretty good product.
That's pretty sweet. What was the craziest training aid you saw?
Craziest training aid. Trying to think. It's always interesting seeing people put that vest on. Do you know the vest where you put it on and then you have to you slide your arms through it and it like keeps everything connected? It's funny watching people hitting those, but other than that, I can't really think of anything.
So the AMEX. Some interesting stuff happened at the AMEX, huh? Nick Dunlap is your winner. And first amateur to win on the PGA Tour since who? Quick quiz.
Phil Mickelson.
Phil Mickelson, where?
Phil Mickelson, 91 or 90?
91.
91.
At
the Viking.
It's no longer a PGA Tour event.
Is it any event?
There's a Champions Tour event there now. And the sponsor is no longer a company. No, it's the Northern Telecom, the Tucson Open.
What do they do? Or what did they do?
Networking hardware. Then became Nortel. Then became nothing. I think they got bought up by somebody. But yeah, so Dunlap, the first amateur to win since 1991, and made it a little tough on himself coming down the stretch. Looked great for most of Sunday, other than that one water ball, that one that he rinsed on, what was it, 7 or so?
Yeah.
But then steadied the ship, started playing really well, and then looked like the wheels were coming off a little bit on 18, but clutch putt to save par and win.
Yeah, that was a really impressive putt. With everything on the line, your hands can get a little shaky. There's a little bit of history to that as well, being the first amateur. And I'm not sure if he knew how long it had been. I'm sure somebody had said something or he'd probably seen, but a lot of nerves on that. To clutch up on that is huge. I didn't see it coming. I definitely thought Sunday there'd be some struggles. Definitely started to see it a little bit early, but somehow made it happen. I think Sam Burns helped him a little bit, but other than that, yeah.
A little bit. Maybe just a little bit.
I don't know what, and I know we're going to talk about Sam a little bit here, but he looked a little lost out there the last couple holes. I just couldn't find it. The big left miss was in play, and those holes really didn't work for that. But yeah, pretty awesome stuff, seeing an amateur win.
Yeah, Sam Burns went double to finish. This is, a guy who just played in his first Ryder Cup, second team event.
Correct.
He had just shot 61 the second round and shot 65 on Saturday, and he was 5 under through 16 holes. And of course, it's very gettable. Nick Dunlap was only 2 under through 16, so it really felt like Sam was going to outlast an amateur, which is what typically happens. Like
which what it should do, yeah.
Talked about, right? Because you always see the amateur, maybe not always, but in the majors, like the Opens, I think the Leprechaun Man was leading for a little bit. What's his? He goes to Georgia Tech, maybe.
Oh, Lamprecht, Christo Lamprecht.
Yeah, the last name looks like Leprechaun to me, so
he's just
that's how I remember it.
10 feet tall, but your average 10 foot tall
opposite.
Leprechaun. Yeah,
the exact opposite of a Leprechaun. And then Sam Bennett at the Masters. He
Mm-hmm.
was there, I believe, all the way through 3 rounds and then kind of faded in the final
He
round.
faded in the
The
final round, playing in the last group, and just looked like a boy lost among men at that
yeah.
point.
It's like you see these things pretty often. They just never come through.
Right.
There's always a shot or the moment gets too big and they disappear and they crumble. But I think we're starting to see a new age of amateur golfers. Nick Dunlap's not an amateur. Let's call a spade a spade. He won the US Junior. He won the USAM, and he's played in a handful of events before. This isn't his first rodeo, but
Yeah.
again, just to
He's also won the North and South and a couple other big amateur events. Like, I always wonder about guys who've won the USAM, because that can be a little fluky with the match play.
Mhm.
Obviously, Tiger's won, Phil has won, Bryson has won. There are great players who've won the USAM who've gone on to have really great careers. But there are also guys who've won the US Amateur and gone on and done absolutely zero in professional golf. But that was generally the only thing they ever won. They had one hot week and that was it. But Dunlap, he's been a stud for years.
One thing I want to talk about, he was ranked 4,000 something in official world golf
Yeah.
ranking. And then all of a sudden jumped up to 68 with one win.
Yeah.
What do we think about that? Is that kind of wild? The Tiger is kind of down there too, and then he plays in one Hero World Challenge and jumps up to like 350. Any thoughts?
Once you get that divisor in your OWGR real small, the variability is just off the charts. One great finish and you just skyrocket. So yeah, though it does seem a little suspicious that he's had, obviously a win is a great phenomenal finish, but it's one finish. Is he really the 67th best player in the world?
Yeah.
Maybe not. What do you think about the decision to turn pro?
I was surprised it took him as long as it did.
I think there were.
He won. He with.
I was going to say, I think there was
ahead.
maybe some consideration. I'm sure there's some chatter from the other side as well. I'm sure there was a number maybe thrown out and some things to consider. But it could just be one of those.
Wait, what do you mean?
You don't think? Yeah, I'm
Can you
sure
explain
that
that to me?
there may have been a potential offer from Live on the table. You got to weigh your options, right? You as an amateur, you've gone out, you've shocked the world because of something that hasn't been done since '91. You don't think that Live may want a little bit of the piece of the action? Obviously, you can take your PGA Tour card.
That's got nothing to do with him turning professional.
I think it's
right?
where do you want to go?
He did.
You go and take your PGA Tour card, or
He had to
well,
turn
yeah, but
professional
still,
either
he's
way.
turned professional and gone to the PGA Tour and signed up for the next event, as opposed to another option with Live. But I think turning pro was inevitable, don't you think? With all the
That's what I'm asking. Why did it take the extra 3 days? He won on Sunday, nothing on Monday. No, I think he withdrew from Torrey on
He withdrew from
Monday, and then
Torrey.
we found out on Wednesday that he was turning professional. What was he thinking about in
maybe he's
those
just a
2 days?
family guy. Got to talk to your family about it and see what makes the most sense. I don't know.
He's back at Alabama, partying with the boys.
Stopped by, saw Nick Saban,
making sure they won't be too hurt. Yep, got to see Coach Snick. But neither of you guys have an issue with him turning pro immediately.
I just don't see why you would.
Well, so we kind of talk about it when people get into a rhythm, right? When people start feeling it and start playing really well. So might as well capitalize on it while you can, because who's to say that he doesn't string together another couple wins? And I can't remember who said it, but of course he's locked up through the end of the year, and he's in, I think, to all the elevated events or designated events. Last place in those is still getting a check for, don't quote me on this, but I want to say like 40 to 60 grand. So even if he finishes dead last in all the designated events, he's still making a good chunk of change this year.
Yeah, it looks like last place at the Century
Yeah.
still made 50K.
50. Yeah. And I couldn't find out how many points they get because that's almost even the bigger thing is it looks like the
Only
Signature
9.
Series is going to be kind of almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. And if you're in, you got to ride that as long as you possibly can. So I wasn't trying to start an argument. I agree. He would be nuts to go back to Alabama and play the second semester and then come out based on PGA Tour U status and have missed 3 months and have missed 2 signature events. Yeah, I don't know why you would put yourself behind that 8 ball just to try to win another NCAA championship or something. I know it's the whole amateur ideal is kind of romantic, but I don't think that he could afford to turn down this kind of an opportunity because, yeah, if he's on a hot streak, does he want to be on a hot streak on the PGA Tour or does he want to be on a hot streak playing college tournaments?
Yeah. It's a good question. Do we think he makes the cut this week?
Oof.
Do we think he makes the cut at Pebble?
There's no cut this
There's
week.
no cut.
Isn't it? All right.
I was going to let you go with that.
Yeah, no,
put
my
the money
fault.
on yes.
I'll
He'll make the cut.
Top 25.
Top 25? I could be in for top 25.
I don't know. I think it's outside top 25.
Yeah, I agree with Madison. There was pressure, but there was no story going into the AMEX. People are definitely talking about him now. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe he wins again. Who knows?
Be a heck of a story.
Yeah. One thing I
Definitely.
wanted to talk about real quick was the FedEx Cup points. He got 0 points, obviously, as an amateur, and also didn't make any money. How it worked is everything just went kind of straight down the leaderboard. Everyone got bumped up one position, or the money went down one position. So Hout, however you want to say it, $1.5 million, but he only got 300 FedEx Cup points. Did you all see him potentially re-warming up while Dunlap was finishing?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Did you see the smile on his face? Do you think he knew that an amateur is going to win? So even if I don't win the tournament, I'm still getting $1.5 million.
It certainly makes it a little bit easier to swallow that you got beat by a college kid.
Yeah.
But it does kind of stink that he didn't get the winner's points as well. Do the points just evaporate? They just go nowhere?
That's what it looks like, yeah.
If I'm auditing the FedEx Cup at the end of the season and I want an accurate accounting of all points and 500 points just disappeared into the ether, what's that?
Imagine this. Nick Dunlap wins 2 more times this year. Goes all the way into the Tour Championship. And let's just say number 1 player in the world, Scotty Scheffler, wins 3 times and he's got that 2-shot lead going into the Tour Championship. And then let's say Nick Dunlap loses the Tour Championship by 1. Do you think we come back to this moment right here in time? January 29th, 2024 at 8:21 p.m.
And we ask, where did those points go?
Yeah.
I think you have to.
I think you've got to.
Yeah. Roll the clip.
Exactly. If you won the points, you should get the points. I understand that you have to join the PGA Tour to get them, but you won the points. What is this nonsense that, oh, you're not a member, so you don't get the points? That's just... And it's anti-competitive. We might need to call the DOJ on this. I think we've got an antitrust situation on our hands. So, speaking of lack of trust, can we trust Sam Burns coming down the stretch?
Yeah, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, I think...
You think he'll shake it off?
Yeah, you got a haircut. Maybe that's what it is. And first time being in contention in a little while,
Yeah, I wouldn't say we're worried about it. It did look a little iffy out there coming down the stretch to really just start losing it that bad, but it's early in the season. Second start so far. I don't know. I think it's just it's a one-off.
Okay. So we can give him
Madison,
a pass.
Would you say him coming on the stretch looked a little familiar to you?
Are you talking about the LPGA?
No, the tournament that was held at PGA West.
Oh,
I think it came out last
yeah.
Saturday, 10
No,
o'clock.
I wouldn't say that. It was one hole. It was one hole. Coming down the stretch, we were lights out. We were lights out. We couldn't miss. We couldn't.
No, we can't say
We
that.
couldn't.
So if you don't know what we're talking about, Madison and I basically played against Minwoo Lee in our latest YouTube video. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. Well, spoiler here. If you want to skip ahead 30 seconds, feel free. Madison and I were 7 under standing on 18T. I looked at him and I was like, we just need a ball on grass. And he delivered. And then I tried to get a little aggressive. I hit my ball into the water. And then in our second shot, again, we just needed to keep something on the grass. He hit it outright. Fine. I hit mine into the water again. And then we failed to get up and down. We make bogey. We tie Minwoo at 6 under. And yeah, I was just wondering if that kind of felt similar because we were making birdies just like Sam Burns. Then all of a sudden, collapse.
Yeah, it's tough because we had all the momentum. I'll say the front 9 of the video. Hopefully, if you watch the video and you clicked off after the first 7 or 8 holes because you were asleep, go back, skip ahead to the back 9. That's where the fireworks started happening. We had all the momentum after the turn. I think it was 11 or 12 when it really started kicking off, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. But standing on 18, we knew what we had to do. We definitely didn't deliver, and it was a heartbreak for sure, but still fun.
I gotta tell you, I was screaming at my phone watching that. I was absolutely locked in, and oh man, it hurt. It hurt to watch, but it was a heck of a ride for you guys. Someone else rinsing some long approach shots coming down the stretch at the AMEX was Justin Thomas. Is he back? Is he not back? Was this proof of life? Is it a deep fake?
I've heard a lot of chatter from people in the space, and everyone is saying that he's back. And I would say, I think Sterling, when we talked last time about is PGA back, and I said, is JT back? Would it take a win? Yeah, I did.
You say PJ?
PJ. Actually, I think I was trying to say PGA.
You know PJ.
Because we were just talking about PGA West. But would a couple solid top 5s back to back mean anything to you? And you said, no, he needs to win. And that's really what he's done. He's strung together some good finishes, but no win yet. So in my mind, I'd say that he's back, especially from where we left him last year, which was on another planet from the form that we've seen from him in years past. I'd say he's back. Sterling, I think the jury for him is probably still out until he sees some hardware there, but I'd say he's back.
Yeah, he needs to win. I think he's a top 10 talent of this generation, the post-Tiger era. But let's not overreact. He was the 2021 PGA champion not even a year and a half ago. He'll be fine. I'm not worried about Justin Thomas. But he's not back. He needs to win. That's just the kind of player he is.
Okay, I can agree with that. So moving on to the Farmers. Another beautiful week at Torrey Pines.
This is where the real golf gets played.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Is this where the season really starts? Is this where the season really starts?
Let me sit up in my chair.
Okay.
I'm sitting up now. Yeah, this is where Tiger used to start playing, right? Torrey, a U.S. Open venue, a really tough golf course. The first 2 weeks, you're on vacation when you're out in Hawaii. They're shooting 30 under. Like Chris Kirk is slinging draws into par 5s and tapping them in from a foot away, whatever. Like, congratulations to him. And then we have Grayson Murray. Never heard of him. Winning in Hawaii, still on vacation. Kind of like what do you call it? It's an opposite field event. I think only half the players that played in the Century actually went and played in the Sony, right? So whatever. And then you have the AMEX where you got amateurs out there winning. Anyone, let me stop. But they're also shooting 30 under.
Right, because all the pins are in the middle of the greens. They got to set up the course easy for the first 3 days to get the amateurs around.
Correct. Did you see that they don't actually keep the pins in the exact same place? They actually move them a foot.
Yeah.
Thought that was interesting.
But they've still got to set it up easy. But
Correct.
yeah, now you're playing real golf.
Yeah, now we're playing real golf.
Ankle high rough. Yeah, 60 people.
I'll be honest, I was in Florida, so I didn't get a chance to watch because they started the tournament on Wednesday. I was just kind of following Minwoo Lee the whole time, but I'm looking at it now. 13 under. Matthew Pavon. Beautiful Frenchman.
Yes.
Love that. Well, maybe. Gotcha. I was like kind of going back on the love that.
Oh, how much you love the French. Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, 69, 65, 72, 69. I think we talked about this last year. They in 5 days, roughly, they play 5 different golf courses.
Pretty crazy.
You guys are just I think that's mind blowing.
It is.
On the PGA Tour, they play 5 different golf courses in 5 different days. And Madison's just shaking his head.
It's the only way you're going to get full field events in this time of year. You can't get 120, 130, 140 guys around one golf course when it's getting dark at 5:30 at night. It's just not possible.
I can't remember if we've talked about.
So, they've got to be creative.
We've talked about this before. I think we have. Do we like the tournaments where you're rotating between courses, or does it make more sense to just have everything on one course? Is that the true tournament feel?
I think there's one person here who does not like the multi-course events. Am I right?
Yeah, I don't like it.
Sterling?
I honestly, if this is the kind of person I am, go back and listen to 1 year ago podcast. I might have said I loved it. I'm now saying I don't. Madison knows I say this a lot. It's potentially true in my eyes. Kind of clown golf. You go to mini putt. They got 36 holes out there. You go play this one course over here, and then you can go play this course over here. When you're playing a true tournament, I think you have to play it the same 18 holes across 4 different days. I think the only tournament where you can truly have a different feel during the morning wave and afternoon wave is the Open, just because the weather gets so crazy sometimes over there. But I'm thinking about it, like, you can go out and play, I'm just going to say course number 3 in the AM. Go out the next day, play course number 2, also in the AM, but then get course number 1 late afternoon. The conditions are completely different. I just don't think that's fair.
Well, also you have to think about too, the players potentially having to play practice rounds on several courses. You've got to know several courses, pin placements. I'm surprised they haven't really pushed back on it enough. And I know kind of what you're saying, Mike, right? You want to see golf this time of year and you want to see it stateside, so you're not having to stay up all night to kind of get it in. But I don't know. It's tough too. You're kind of following the leaders and you're trying to figure out which course is playing a little bit better, where the advantages are. But I think if you really want to say you're the best player that week, everyone plays the same course, the same 18 holes. Yes, you have different time waves and everything, but that's how you really get I'd say your true and honest champion.
I think I can be okay with the way the Farmers does it, with just 2 courses, no amateurs. It's set up for professionals the entire time, and the Friday and Saturday rounds, the final 2 rounds after the cut, are on the main course, the main championship course. You can tell me the AMEX is clown golf, and I'm right there. I'm right there with you. It's a pro-am. The pins are all in the middle of the green. Yeah, that's not really PGA Tour golf. But I can be good. I can be good with how they do it at the Farmers, again, just to get a full field event in this time of year. But yeah, once you get to 3 courses, it's a circus.
It blows my mind. I just realize that they're back at Pebble this week. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier. Pebble, the AT&T tournament, is 2 different courses as well. What are we doing, PGA Tour? 3 weeks in a row where these guys are playing multiple golf courses in the same tournament.
Well, this used to be 3. This is the first year it's only 2. This used to be 3. This used to be 3 with 3 days of amateurs, and the Saturday telecast was an absolute horror show. It's basically Bill Murray and Ray Romano. Don't tune in if you want to watch professional golf. So I'm actually relatively excited for it being only 2 courses and all pros for the weekend.
Wait, so they lose the amateurs on the weekend?
I believe aren't they getting rid of the amateurs? Am I wrong on that?
Interesting. I don't know. I do not know. Oh, well, we'll see.
Tune in and find out for sure.
Yes.
Mike's going to continue to look it up. It's going to bother me if he doesn't figure it out.
I think we got to switch it, Sterling.
Y'all talk amongst yourselves.
I don't think it can be Stat Guy Madison anymore. It's got to be Stat Guy Mike. Mike will look something up in a heartbeat. I think we got to switch it up.
You just yeah, but it's like you're just giving up.
Yeah.
Are you standing right now? Are you sitting down?
Yeah.
You're standing. Should we just make this the longest
Go for it.
podcast?
The longest awkward pause?
Not even this is going in. We're leaving this in. Madison is standing right now. We're 35 minutes into the episode. And I just want to see how long those legs can hold.
There we go. Amateurs Thursday and Friday.
Okay.
Just Thursday and Friday?
Amateurs Thursday and Friday only.
Gotcha.
So there you go. You've got it.
That's so good. Madison, just explain to me the decision to stand.
I've been sitting most of today, and this makes it just a little bit easier to stay awake and talk to you guys. Can't fall asleep standing up.
Wow, he needs help. He needs help staying awake to talk to us. That's right. Wow.
That's almost worse than my shot from the last episode.
Oh boy.
Wow. No, you had a long day. I get it.
All right, so where do we want to get to?
Back to the farmers. Yeah, let's get back on track here. Mike, you have on here Finau's putting.
Finau's
short turkey missing putts? Question mark.
Yeah. The question mark was the Scott Norwood putts, the wide right. He was not scaring the hole from 5 feet.
I've noticed something.
It was difficult to watch.
Something with his putting in some of the telecasts recently, where it really seems and it really looks like the toe of his putter is completely off the ground. It's definitely on the heel, and I kind of went back and looked, and I don't think that's been his setup before. And Sterling, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like if the heel is really or the toe is completely off the ground, that can kind of open the face coming through and kind of miss a little right.
I feel like he's always got the toe up a little bit, but it looked just absolutely ridiculous. Like an inch off the ground this week. And the backswing on the short putts, it didn't look like he was taking it back more than an inch or so. He looked like he was just in a rush to get it over with. And longer putts, there's a lot more rhythmic, a lot better flow to it. And he still had a pretty great finish for putting, just absolutely atrociously coming down the stretch on Sunday. Just beat up on the par fives, but man, if he could have done anything with the flat stick, he'd have been right in there.
Yeah, well, speaking of the flat stick, because that's definitely something we have to continue to watch with Tony. I know that you wanted to, or I guess you had on there to talk about Willie Z's new putting stroke. Obviously, switching to the broomstick from, I think it's Lab Golf, isn't it?
It's the Lab, yeah. He's on the Lab. He's on Team Lab. Looks so much better. Just I thought looked phenomenally better with that. And should it be legal? That's a different story. But good to see him getting the ball in the hole from short distances. You don't have the figure eight or any of that other stuff that he had going on. And looked like he was swinging it really well too. So good high finish for Zalatoris.
Want to go over our picks real quick?
How did
I
our
believe,
picks? How did our picks do, Sterling?
yeah, our picks did well. All of them made the cut. Let's see here. Mike, you had Aberg, right?
I had Aberg.
Ludwig Aberg. He finished top 10,
Top
T9.
10. Yep.
Very
Sure
nice,
did.
very nice. Madison, you
Yep.
took your favorite player, correct?
Yeah, T13 finish. Always usually delivers in California, but obviously thought he was going to finish a little bit higher, but we'll see. I think we'll continue to see some good stuff from Homa this year. And are we saying is it Aberg? I could have sworn I heard someone say it's O'Bear.
That's how Nance
Okay.
was pronouncing it.
I feel like you got to go with Nance.
Supposedly he'll answer to anything. He's fine with Aberg.
That's wild.
He was at Texas Tech. Come on. Do you think they've really mastered the finer points of the Swedish language down there in Lubbock?
Good point.
I don't
Good
think
point.
so. But yeah, Ludwig had a good outing. And Sterling, who did you have again?
I had my favorite player,
You had your
Min
favorite
Lee.
player?
Like I said, when your favorite player's in the field, you got to take him. This is plain and simple. I was surprised. He shot 72 in round one and he was 2 under heading into his last hole on Friday. Oh, geez, now they moved it.
Thursday.
He was 2 under in his second round, which is on Thursday. Thank you. And the cut line was at 3 under, which I thought was really low for Torrey Pines. And he made eagle on his last hole in round 2 to get inside the cut line by 1. And then it just kind of fills it out over the weekend. Didn't really have anything special. So yeah, T43 from Minwoo.
Not bad. Not bad.
Not bad at all. What do we
Good
know
to see
about
all three
this?
of our picks making the cut.
What do we know about this Matthew guy? Give me the rundown on him.
Yeah, so mom's a teaching pro in France. Father is a professional footballer. Apparently a legend. Apparently a legend of the game in France, to the point that Matthew was kind of feeling the burden of being the child of such a storied athlete, but got his card off the DP World Tour. Yet another cross-handed short game Matthew from Europe, up there with Fitzy. And it was interesting because there was a lot going on. A lot going on in that final round coming down the stretch. Some great shots, some not great shots, some great saves. It was kind of Spiethian in a way, with some of the stuff that he was doing. Great save on 14 from out of, just barely missed the penalty area. Great save on 16, and then on 17, awful pull of a short putt to make a bogey, and then looked like he was absolutely leaking oil coming down 18, and then just stiffs it out of the cabbage and makes a clutch birdie putt. So more power to him. Definitely got the job done. And between Pavon and Højgaard, who had a phenomenal finish, does this prove that the whole PGA Tour cards to the DP World top 10, that's a good thing? Does it prove that works? That was actually a good idea?
Yeah, you'd have to say there's a case for it, right?
I think so. I think that shows these guys can play. They're worthy of being on the PGA Tour. They're going to make it more competitive. Sterling, your thoughts?
No, you have to agree. Anyone that says they disagree is just wrong.
Right.
They've earned it. You can't say it was given to them that they went out their top 10. They definitely have earned it. So yeah, I'm glad to see it. Gets more guys into the mix over here, and I also think it potentially makes the DP World Tour look even more not lucrative, but I don't know, appealing to some of the guys who potentially are maybe always on the bubble of getting their tour card on the Corn Ferry or whatever. You can go over to Europe and maybe grind over there and get it a different way.
I would love to see some more guys do that. Skip the Corn Ferry, go over there, see the world, see several parts of the world, get to experience some different kinds of courses, different food, different places. Could be cool.
For sure.
Could definitely be cool. Another great story this week, Tom Whitney, U.S. Air Force veteran, nuclear missile operator. Sadly, his older brother committed suicide, and he uses his older brother's dog tag as a ball marker, and finished with I don't think he stayed in the top 10. He was close, but I think a good top 15 finish, and just a phenomenal story. I don't know if you saw the interview that he did with Amanda Balionis, but man, when you've got the keys to the nukes, that's got to really put professional golf into perspective.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
that was I remember that was a big
a different
story
kind of definitely a different kind of pressure.
Yeah, I remember that was a big story when he was graduating from the Corn Ferry Tour. They work a 24-hour shift just down in a hole underground. I'm sure there's some creature comforts down there. I'm not sure, not a hole in the ground, but if you want to stand somewhere and practice your golf swing for a while, I know we all do. That's a great way to do it. Maybe they got a simulator in there, get some reps in. But yeah, just kind of being isolated down there for 24 hours, that's tough. But to see him out here, grinded on Corn Ferry Tour, got his PGA Tour card, and really showing up well, it's a great story for sure.
Yeah, and you got to figure a bad day in professional golf still beats the potential bad day of a nuclear missile operator. So hats off to him.
Yeah, so do we want to fast forward now to Pebble, or do we want to hop into the LPGA Tour?
I think we got to go LPGA.
Because I will say,
let's hit the LPGA Tour first. There's a little going on there this week.
I wanted, how I said in the last episode that I wanted to watch more LPGA Tour golf? I did. I watched the final hole. So the sudden death playoff, the second hole of the playoff. I watched that. So
that is more.
Off to a good start.
That is definitely more than you've watched before.
It is. So go ahead and take it away, Madison.
Yeah, it was Nelly gets the wire-to-wire finish done. I think it was the first time that she's done it. Struggled immensely coming down the back nine. Had the lead at 12 under going into 14, and then goes bogey, double, bogey. Drops all the way back to 8 under. Lydia Ko, just kind of on fire on the back, comes back, takes the lead. Nelly needs to go eagle birdie to force a playoff. And as you said, Mike, earlier, very Spiethian. That's what Nelly was showing this week. Just an absolute roller coaster. You're saying, wow, wire-to-wire finish. This is so cool. Oh, bogey, double, bogey. This is not what we want to see. What does she need? An eagle and a birdie to force a playoff? And that's exactly what she does.
To force the playoff.
It was, I can't describe it any way other than Spiethian. Then we go to the playoff holes, and it was kind of a pillow fight. Lydia Ko, on the second playoff hole, Lydia Ko ends up on the green. Nelly is under hospitality. And Lydia she hits her putt halfway there, leaves herself well short, and loses to Nelly. But a little bit of history was on the line this week. If Lydia Ko was to win this tournament, she would have been an automatic lock for the LPGA Hall of Fame, which I thought was really cool because she's 27, I think. Pretty impressive there, to say the least. But unfortunately, a couple points shy of that. So I've still a lot of golf this year for her, and she's in great form right now. So I'd say she gets it done this year, no problem. But good to see Nelly somehow figure out a way to win.
Yeah, I was struck though by how many bad lag putts that you saw coming down the stretch from Ko, from Korda, from Megan Kang, who for a long time also was right in there, and she kind of kicked it away. I didn't see the early coverage. I don't know if Ayaka Furue was really ever in it, or if she was just kind of in the last group, but kind of well back. But that was something that I think really struck me. I don't know what was going on. I don't know if the speed of the greens was really difficult to judge or whatever, but that was just something that really struck me. It was a fun watch though. A lot of wind, a lot of shot making on display. A lot of cool, especially Lydia Ko, a lot of cool kind of choked up fairway woods, hybrids, just kind of holding the ball up against the wind. It was a lot of fun to watch. I was glad that I delayed the start of the later football game last night to watch that off the DVR. It was definitely worth the watch.
Yeah, I thought it was. I don't know if you saw the one part. I'm sure you did. On the first playoff hole, Lydia ships hers into hospitality, and the ball happens to stop next to the champagne and the roses that they had already brought out, because everyone had assumed that Lydia had already locked it up as Nelly started to crumble. So kind of a little ironic there that that's where her ball would finish, and she unfortunately did not go on to win this week. But I'd say really great watch. Sterling, one hole is a lot better than none. So you're off to a good start this year. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm hoping to see some better golf when I tune in the next time. Was that last hole par 4 or par 5?
Par 4.
Par 4.
Par 4.
Okay. So Lydia 3-putted to make bogey.
Yeah.
And gave the tournament to Nelly after she didn't deserve it.
Yep, unfortunately.
But Lydia won the week before, or not the week before. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Not sure. But I want to talk one thing about the kind of the younger LPGA Tour stars. Did you all see Lucy Lee in contention?
Yes, I did.
And then did you also see, I think in the first week, Alexa Pano in contention?
Mm-hmm.
I think this is kind of really cool. So Lucy Lee, for those of you that don't know, qualified for the U.S. Open in 2014. I believe she was 11.
Famous video of her eating a popsicle while she was being interviewed.
Yeah. Did she make the cut that week?
Yes, come on.
Okay, I'm sorry. I could not answer.
Okay, yeah, scratch that. Take that off the record. But yeah, I see here she finished T4, and then Alexa Pano was a star in the Netflix show The Short Game.
The Short Game, yeah.
Which featured a number of young junior golfers who were competing down in Pinehurst for the U.S. Kids Championship. I don't know, I just thought that was kind of a cool, interesting thing.
Always a youth movement on the LPGA Tour, and yeah, were you going to talk about someone else from the Short Game?
Well, I know Amari Avery. I know she's at USC.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard anything about Alan. Was it Kornikova, and nothing from the other players. So
Alexa Pano already has an LPGA win too, doesn't she?
Interesting.
Yeah,
I guess so, because she played in the Champions
tournament
event
champions.
Tournament Champions, 2 weeks ago, or whatever.
Yeah, pretty wild that they made that many good picks on young junior golfers for that Netflix special 10 years ago. So, hats off to them. Speaking of off, 2 more guys off to live.
Mm-hmm.
Adrian Moronk didn't get that pick for the Ryder Cup. Still a little salty. And Tyrrell Hatton.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah. What do you guys think about, especially Hatton? That
was Hatton. Did he not qualify for the signature events this year? I'm asking a lot of questions we definitely don't know the answers to.
Didn't he?
He was definitely in them last year.
He's 30. What? He's 38th in the world, right? Or no?
He's 38th in the world.
Oh yeah, that was in the. Was that not in the live or in the live post? So yeah, that would have put him in the signature events. So
I would say
super unclear on why
that
he
was
went.
Probably the most interesting one to me. He got a bag. I think he got what, $60 or $50 million. It's a little unclear, but around that amount. He is joining John Rahm's team, so that'll be probably that's
confirmed.
That is about as confirmed as I can give you right now. But yeah, that's what it said, that he's going to join John Rahm's team. That's got to be the only team with spots, correct? I mean, that's a newly formed team. I thought everything else was done.
Didn't they do the whole reshuffle thing
Isn't there still
where
a?
they had
I thought they'd already done all that because they did the qualifying events where you could play your way on to live. So they'd already have that. I thought the teams were already locked. The only difference was with Rom's brand new team, you need 3 new players and Rom, so 4 total.
So are we saying the Morant guys going to John Rahm's team
Unless
too?
he's trading.
I think the Cleeks. I think the Cleeks have a roster
do
spot too. Yeah, and it looks like Hatton made the Tour Championship last year, so he was in the signature events.
Yeah, he was a really interesting one. That one I was pretty surprised at. He definitely has had a personality on PJ Tour and DP World Tour. So yeah, I just didn't see that one happening. But I'm trying to think who. I think it was Xander when they'd asked him about some of the moves to live, and he said, "You always know when someone's going to live, or the people you have to watch out for going to live are the ones who pledge their allegiance to the PJ Tour, because those are the ones that always go." So I find that very interesting. So that's something you really have to watch out for. The ones that say, "No way, I'm staying on PJ Tour. I think this is the best place for me. I want to play with the best players, whatever it may be." Those are the ones that typically always end up going.
Seems to have been the case, at least the last couple defections. So after Big J's trip to the desert, now we're hearing that they're close to an agreement, or at least closer to an agreement. You guys think it's going to happen this year?
Yeah.
Are you looking at me? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how much longer they can wait, or how much longer they can put it off, I guess is a better way to say it. Hopefully they've gotten everything sorted with the strategic sports group, and that they can focus on this, and they can finally get the deal done.
What about, I don't know, I don't think this was on our rundown or not. The biggest news right now is Anthony Kim coming back, and potentially, now this makes no sense to me, potentially coming back to the PGA Tour, but obviously also potentially going to live. Apparently he's weighing his options. I think he would be crazy to come back to the PGA Tour. He'd almost have to go to live, collect the money, because I think he's going to have to pay off the insurance. Is that correct, Mike? Or is there a statute of limitations where after a certain amount of time's passed, he no longer has to pay that off?
I can't find a clear explanation of this. I don't know if he's gotten the entire payout, or if they pay him off over time. And I don't know if he has. I know he's gotten at least some money from it. And I don't know if he would have to return that or not. But everything I've heard has made it sound like somehow he has to replace the 10 million, or at least part of the 10 million, or he's foregoing 10 million, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm with you. Unless there's a sponsor or a consortium of sponsors that's ready to hand him 10 million bucks to play on the PGA Tour, I don't see how he could make that choice over live. So, how much do you guys remember of Anthony Kim playing professional golf?
It's very little. His rise to fame was meteoric, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he was gone so quickly too, and it just didn't.
Right.
I don't think there's a lot of people that still always post on social media about rare Anthony Kim sightings, because I think the most interesting part about him is when he removed himself from the game, he almost disappeared from the face of the earth. It was just like a Sasquatch sighting. When you would see Anthony Kim, that was big news. But I don't think he necessarily has the fan base that's going to be behind him. I don't know the demographic of his fan base. Are they more live fans, or are they more PGA Tour fans? But I think he has to go live unless his game is in tip-top shape, because he's 38, I think 38, 39 years old, and to
He's
come
38.
back after 10 plus years to the PGA Tour and try and compete with the younger generation, the strong players that are out there now, I think he's going to get eaten alive. I think you got to take the money. You got to go be like I don't want to say this, but you got to go be the sideshow on live. We've got Anthony Kim. Come see him. You haven't seen him in 10 years. I think that's where you got to go. You got to ask for a lot of money, and then stay there for whatever your contract is and then disappear again.
And who knows, if the tours unify or something, then that can be a path back to play in the PGA Tour. Yeah, it's funny. I remember I used to love watching him play. Phenomenal player, incredibly exciting, and the flameouts were as exciting as the wins, and that was part of it. That was definitely part of it. But I think the legend has definitely gotten past the resume, at least. I won't, maybe not the talent, because again, he disappeared too quickly. It was only about 3 years that he had on tour, and that third year he was basically crippled and trying to play. So who knows what kind of player he would have become if he had gotten to actually grow into it. But certainly the legend has far, far outpaced the actual resume. And he was considered fairly long back in his day. But as other people I've heard have pointed out, so was Ricky. And you look at Ricky now, and Ricky is definitely a middle of the pack player when it comes to distance. And unless AK has been doing a lot of speed training and doing a lot of lifting and somehow trying to defy Father Time in that way, I think he would struggle to be a middle of the pack PGA Tour player. So yeah, Madison, I'm with you. Why subject yourself to this? Yeah, Sterling, you were how old back in 05 to
when he
08?
joined the tour.
07? Oh, 07? Okay. Folks, I think we might be having some audio issues here with Sterling.
That's what it appears.
So, all right, let's move on. Yeah, let's move on to the players. The players. I'm looking at the players for Pebble Beach. And what are the stories? Are there any stories that jump out to you this week? Obviously, Dunlap. Can Dunlap continue the hot streak?
Yeah, I think that's really the only one.
Anything else?
I think it's Dunlap. See his first start. I think he's gonna, like I said, I think he's gonna struggle a little bit this week just because it is playing two courses. I don't know if he's ever played either one of them, but having to manage them both in the same week, I think is going to be a little tough on him. That's why I'm kind of saying outside top 25. But other than that, I don't think there's any big stories this week.
Some controversy over the sponsors exemptions.
Yeah, I saw that.
You got Peter Malnati. Did I see Webb Simpson?
Yep.
Yes. Things of that nature. Policy board members. Does that pass the...
No, it does not.
Matt McNeely not on the policy board, but on the pack. Does this pass the smell test?
Yeah, not at all. This is you pick your friends kind of thing. Whatever the class favorites are. Yeah, I agree. I think those are some interesting picks there. But we'll see how they perform too. That's always what it comes down to when you have sponsors exemptions. I wouldn't say that everyone's typically very critical of them, or there's definitely a watchful eye on them, but you definitely, if you're going to make the call and you're going to send somebody the invitation, you want to make sure that they show up and make it worthwhile. So we'll see how they do this week. I think there'll definitely be some ones to watch, especially Mav McNeely. Talk about somebody who's had some flashes of greatness, but just really hasn't, I don't want to say really hasn't gotten it done, but I mean, he hasn't gotten it done.
Yeah, I really want to see more from him. Really do like him. Really interesting, intelligent, well-spoken guy. Would love to see him back it up with some great play, but especially in a signature event, you've got to wonder, how do you just decide on 4 or 5 people who did not in any way, shape, or form play their way into the event, but you're going to let them in on the cash grab and not other folks? I wonder why they even have sponsors exemptions. Just extend the list a little further and bring some more players in who are playing well.
That would make the most sense.
All right. Well, we're at the hour 7 mark. Thank you to all the listeners who've hung in there with us this whole time. Hopefully you did see Madison and Sterling battle against Minwoo, battle against the course at PGA West. If you did not, please do check that out on YouTube. Check out all our other socials as well. TikTok, Instagram, also the website at 211golf.com. And with that, we'll see you next time.